Welcome to Winning with the Burns, a podcast for highly ambitious people who have a burning desire to learn what it takes to win at a high level. Hey guys, thanks for joining us again today. You know, Nick, we've got college football around the corner. It's one of the best times of year for us here in the South because, you know, we get to watch our favorite Georgia Bulldogs team, you know, go for the three-peat. But, you know, I'm excited. But, you know, watching football, it correlates so much in our business life about, you know, getting ready to go into the season. And unfortunately in business, you don't have a season to prepare. It's like every day you have to wake up. Every day you have to be prepared. And fortunately for these college football teams, they've had all summer, they've had spring camp, they've had, you know, the winter, getting ready to take on the field right now.
Yeah, those guys, I mean, you know, we say it's they have a season, but they're 365 days working on those bodies. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a certain number of weeks where they compete, and business is completely different. I mean, it really is every day. You know, every week you have to show up, and if you don't, if you go through a season in business where you don't show up, it takes you a couple seasons down the road to recoup the season that you slow down on.
Well, you know, wherever you're at in life and in your business, it's a product and actions that took place a year ago, 90 days ago. And so many people think that, oh, well, things will change. Things will change. Well, nothing changes unless something changes. And one thing I want to talk about is, you know, if you can measure it, then you can change it. Like if you can measure what matters the most, then you can move the needle in your business. But I think so many times people get so focused on things that really, number one, they can't control, you know, worrying about this and that. But also what happens is they worry about the wrong things. They worry about things that they can't measure, and they worry about things they can't control.
Yeah, and I think it's a process of dialing it down to what really matters in your business to have the success that you really want. And then you can decide on, well, can I control this or is it uncontrollable? And then that's where you have that laser focus. You know, we overestimate what we can do in a year. You know, you think a year from now I'm going to be doing this, but we really underestimate what we can do in a decade, you know, and if you're consistent and intentional, you know, on a consistent basis, man, 10 years from now, there's no telling where you could be.
Well, you got to show up every day. And, you know, we've made the mistakes over the years of kind of being very lackadaisical, being very casual in business because it was like, well, it'll be there tomorrow. It'll be there tomorrow. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do that. And that's a lot of mistakes that we have made because, you know, it's the compound effect to where, you know, consistent action will pay dividends, but also missing compounding action, you also reap the rewards or the lack thereof rewards in the end when you don't show up. Because again, we've made mistakes to where it's like, yeah, it'll be okay. We'll show up tomorrow. We'll do this, and not being intentional and not really being, I hate to say intense, but like if you're in business, you should be intense in your business.
You have to be. I mean, it's, you can, you turn a blind eye when things are going well. You know, think about when you really care about somebody, you turn a blind eye to it. But when you don't like that person, you start looking at every little detail about them and you start seeing their flaws, right? If we could be objective about our business, if we could be objective about ourselves, right? The only way to change is with self-awareness and just really look at it objectively and be like, hey, okay, this is the situation. This is what I need to do to fix it, versus being emotional. It really is your mind over your feelings.
Yeah, not being emotionally attached. Have emotions, but don't be emotionally attached. Watching football, if you notice, it's not the teams with the most elaborate plan that always wins. It's the team that executes.
Yeah.
You have so many people that have all these grandiose ideas about business and this would be amazing. Let's go do this. But what happens is they're just ideas. They don't go execute them. I would rather take somebody that can show up every day and go execute on the little things than have somebody who's got this elaborate plan and never go execute. Because at the end of the day, you just got to go out there and get it done.
Yeah, it's really, simple. You can complicate it really quick. You talk about football, we're big Georgia fans, and Mark Richt's one of the best men, in all of sports. Great man. He has some really good football teams, but the players a lot of times were very undisciplined at times on the field. You know, they would talk back to the other team. There'd be a lot of personal fouls. You know, with what we're seeing now with Kirby Smart, you see our guy. I say our guys like I'm like, you know, it's my team, but you see the Georgia players play under control. They play with composure, and what's the result? You know, they're winning. You know, obviously talent has a lot to do with that. He recruits at such a high level, but they play, you know, with emotion, but they don't play emotional, especially towards the other team. It's always focused on their team. You don't never see Georgia players talking trash unless it was, you know, Pickens. You know, he'd like to talk a lot of trash, but he's still doing that at the next level. But when you're a freak talent like that, sometimes you get away with that. But yeah, you gotta be under control.
Yeah, under control, but they invest time in, like, they just don't go to the field and not have those emotions. Like, they invest time in making sure they don't have those emotions. So you got to invest the time in yourself. It's like something I always was told years ago is if you don't know what to work on yourself.
I think you got to be around people that will call you out. You know, you like to your point about that. There's a reason why those players don't act uncontrolled on the field, because they get their butt chewed out in practice. They know it's not allowed, you know, and it's the same thing in business, being around the right people that will, you know, show you the mistakes they made, you know. So the guys that are on our team now and gals, we're telling them, don't make this mistake. You'll have a head fake for a certain period of time with this, but if you don't do this, you're going to pay for it in the long run. And I think that's what mentorship's about, is learning from your mistakes.
Yeah, and that's what I love about books. I love about podcasts and stuff, is because I can go listen to people and listen through the trials that they went to. Because, you know, everybody's got a plan when they win. You know, everybody can tell you, hey, I did this, I did that. But the ones that I have seen that have the most success, they also had the most adversity. They're also the ones that had trials, the ones that had to overcome obstacles, because that's what made them continue to fight every day when they woke up.
Just think about the people that you listen to, you know, from whether it be a podcast or read a book. There's something attractive about somebody that's humble, that says, hey, I screwed up. You know, I made these mistakes. Now, they're confident, but there's humility as well, you know, and it's very attractive when you can hear somebody own up to how they screwed up, own up to their own mistakes. People will follow somebody that says they made mistakes. It's tough to follow somebody that you think you never have a shot of being like, because you think they're perfect, you know. But the ones that are admittedly, hey, I screwed up, I did this, there's something attractive about it.
That's what cracks me up about politicians, and they bring up some dirt on them, and then they try to deny it. Oh, no, I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I didn't do that. And then they keep coming after them. I think if a politician would say, you know what, I screwed up, I did that, you wouldn't hear another word about it, because then you have no more ammunition towards that guy, right?
Yeah, the difference, I mean, you look back at, you know, and it was a different time, you know, it wasn't as much social media, but you take Tiger Woods and you take Kobe Bryant. When Tiger Woods went through the stuff he went through, what did he do? He went quiet. He went ghost. You didn't hear from him. So what did that fuel? Everybody kept talking about
Conspiracy.
it. Everybody was just, you know, wondering, you know. What did Kobe Bryant do when he made that mistake? He held a press conference. He had his wife sit next to him and said, I screwed up. People forget about that. Why? Because he owned up to his mistake, you know, versus going in hiding. You know, and again, it goes back to, there's something attractive about, you know, somebody saying, hey, I screwed up, but let's go. Because everybody knows we're all one decision away from going down the wrong path. We all make mistakes. No one is you know, no one is immune to screwing up. We all do it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just take ownership of everything, really. You know, I took ownership with my son the other day with something, and I was like, hey, I screwed up. He didn't fuss no more at me.
That's it.
He didn't fuss. He couldn't say another word at me. Like, Dad, why didn't you do this? Dad, I needed this. And I'm like, hey, I dropped the ball. That's my bad. To hear another word.
Yeah. It takes the wood off the fire.
Yes.
You know what I mean? When you quit putting wood on the fire, it eventually goes out.
This is exactly right. Exactly right. So, but going back to, you know, measuring the things that matter in your business, really the things that matter in your life, if you can take the time to invest in it to ensure that you have a business. You know, so many times I think we get so caught up of working in our business that sometimes we forget to work on our business. we forget to work on ourselves because we're so focused in the day-to-day grind, the day-to-day minutia that goes on. Instead of being proactive, we're reactive to our business. And that's one thing we've gotten better at, is being proactive, because we know where the storms are at. We know where we made mistakes, and we're being proactive ahead, and we're meeting it before it becomes a mistake.
That's right. That's exactly right. Again, experience is a great thing when you learn from it. Heck, we're 20 years in this deal, and it's just like I was telling somebody the other day is, once you really start thinking you've got something figured out, that's when you realize how much you really don't know. That's when you can really be open to learning more. That's where you can really be open to get better, is when you say, okay, I don't know it all. Teach me, show me. But you do have to be careful of who you listen to. Don't take relationship advice from somebody that you don't want to be in that type of relationship that they're in. Don't take business advice from somebody that doesn't have a business like you want.
Yeah, the old saying is, like, if you're working somewhere, find someone who's been there 10 years, and that's going to be you in 10 years. And if you like that picture, then maybe you're in the right spot. Yeah. If you don't like that picture, maybe you need to change some things up. So to your point is, don't take advice from somebody that's not doing better than you are. There's so many people that got a lot of suggestions in my business, but guess what? I don't see them doing better than me. So why would I listen to them?
That's right.
Like Kirby Smart, is he going to listen to somebody who's in Division III right now that's 500? He's not going to take advice from that. Now he can always learn some things, but he's not going to take big team advice from somebody doing less than him right now.
Yep, that's exactly right.
All right, man. Well, enjoyed it. Looking forward to watching the Dogs play.
It's going to be boring for us this year until November. It's going to be so boring, Yeah, I'm that cocky, arrogant Georgia fan right now. We're overconfident, it's fun times. We earned this, man. All these years of heartache, all the years of pain, man. We get to sit back and relax and let some of our friends from down the road go through these suffering times they've been through the last few years.
Isn't it crazy how we went from next year's our year, next year's our year, next year's our year, to now it's like, man, first half is exciting. Then after that, we don't even have to watch anymore because we don't have to bite our nails seeing what's going to happen.
Everybody always gave Georgia fans, you always think you're going to win a national championship. They spoke it into existence, because that's the standard now, is it's a national championship or bust. I know it is for a fan. I'm sure it's not for Kirby Smart and those guys. They're keeping one game at approach type mentality, but for us fans, it's going to be fun. It's a great time of year, cooler weather. It's just fun, man. Starting at 12 o'clock every Saturday.
That's it. We'll see you guys next week.
All right.